Chapter 61. Is the friend you're talking about yourself? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 61 is the friend you're talking about yourself. Yi Yuqiu took a deep breath and said solemnly, this is not a joke. Lin Xian also said solemnly, why would I joke about this? It's 6 peerless golden runes. However, I want to reserve a peerless golden rune in advance. Yi Yuqiu looked at him speechlessly. Silver Fox had long mentioned Shield Ghost's character. She knew that if she could not order him around, she could use money to pave the way. However, she had still underestimated the allure of money and treasures to Lin Xian. The chances of golden peerless runes appearing on the forging table in the consciousness space were ridiculously low. It was no different from those games with extremely low drop rates. Moreover, unlike those games, one would not be guaranteed to get anything now that he had a chance to directly choose 6 peerless golden runes. How could Lin Xian miss this opportunity? Then tell me, how are you going to guard 2 walls? Yi Yuqiu questioned. Lin Xian waved his hand. I have a friend who's also a 6th realm martial artist. In a while, I'll get him to help guard the city wall. Yi Yuqiu was puzzled. Is that friend you're talking about yourself? Lin Xian could not help but laugh. Don't worry. I'll definitely fulfill my promise. Leave the 2 walls to me. Also, don't we have to guard the northern city wall? He pointed behind him. Yi Yuqiu shook her head. There's no need to guard. What runes do you want to get in advance? Lin Xian immediately said, I need, let the flames purify everything. I'm still short of a third to gather a set of runes. After all, the construction division runs a big business. You should have it, right? Yi Yuqiu closed her eyes and recalled. The rune warehouse. It's on the 6th shelf in the 3rd row. I'll get it for you. Lin Xian nodded. Then I'll go get that friend. Soon, Yi Yuqiu returned with the rune. What made her dumbfounded was that there were actually 2 people standing here. One figure was covered in thick armor that seemed to be in a metal bucket. The other figure was enveloped in a black cloak and could not be seen clearly. Yi Yuqiu was stunned. Which of them was the Shield Ghost? Which of them was the friend? She tried to use Observer, but she could not see any information. Unfortunately, my observer skill hasn't improved much. I'm only at the 4th realm now, and the grade is only rare blue. Otherwise, I should be able to see this person's information. Yi Yuqiu was helpless. I'm Shield Ghost. I've changed my equipment to avoid being recognized by the Germinal organization. Lin Xian was currently wearing the Giant Shield set and the Stronghold set. Because the Stronghold set was worn outside, it naturally looked like an iron bucket. I'll go east, you go west. After receiving the rune Yi Yuqiu handed over, he patted the shoulder of his friend, and the 2 of them walked with their backs facing each other. This friend of his was naturally himself. To be precise, it was his avatar. It's good to have an avatar. Unfortunately, I can only have one avatar with this avatar skill. I wonder if there are any high-level avatar skills. Lin Xian stood on the east wall and embedded an entire Let the Flames Purify Everything rune into his Blazing Fire Codex. The 3 effects of the Let the Flames Purify Everything rune group were plus 70% magic power recovery speed, plus 30% fire magic damage, and a fire magic skill that carried splash damage within a 50-meter radius. With this rune group and the Scarlet Wave Rush rune group he had previously obtained, the strength of his fire spells had increased greatly compared to when he fought manager number 3 previously. At the same time, Zhang Peng, Yang Wei, and Mo Yuan brought nearly 100 martial artists of various levels to the western city wall. Lu Luo, Wen Xiong, and the others led another group of people to the east wall. Mo Yuan noticed that Yang Wei was a little nervous and casually reminded, don't be nervous, and don't worry. Sir Number 1 is very resourceful. Moreover, no matter what, we have a lot of people. The advantage is on our side. Yang Wei heard this and instinctively trembled. He suddenly recalled that not long ago, when he wanted to curry favor with number 3 and deal with Shield Ghost, he had once sent out 3 wasteland reclaimers. The 3 of them had fought on point 1 and seemed to have also boldly said that the advantage was on their side. In the end, the 3 of them were beaten up by Shield Ghost and could not retaliate at all. Look, there's actually only one person standing on the western city wall. I'm dying of laughter. Does he want to defend against the attack of so many of us alone? Zhang Ping suddenly noticed the figure enveloped in a cloak on the western city wall. Mo Yuan also looked up. With just a glance, his legs weakened and he almost fell to the ground. Zhang Ping and Yang Wei supported him from both sides and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Mo Yuan pointed at the cloaked figure on the city wall and stammered, "Flame. Flame explosion." Zhang Ping and Yang Wei's bodies trembled. Damn, really. They had already completely experienced the terror of flame explosion. Facing flame explosion, the captain of the Demon King team, Luo Rixu, was unable to counterattack at all and was instantly killed. Moreover, they also heard some news from Mo Yuan. That night, when flames rose in the wilderness, it was Flame Explosion who had fought manager number 3. However, in the end, Flame Explosion was never captured. What did this mean? It meant that Flame Explosion had successfully escaped after fighting manager number 3. They did not need to be told how powerful Flame Explosion was. Manager number 3 was the best example. Lin Xian's avatar also saw the people below the city wall. He swept his gaze over and saw that they were all familiar. The hand under his cloak directly took out the blazing fire codex and he immediately began to chant Flame Explosion. Seeing this action, Mo Yuan's instinctive reaction was to retreat. If even the 6th realm martial artist leader retreated, there was even less of a need to mention those weaker martial artists. Before Lin Xian's avatar could start chanting, a large number of the martial artists sent by the Germinal organization to attack the western city wall retreated. Those who did not know would think that they were currently facing a 7th realm martial artist on the western city wall. Zhang Ping, Yang Wei, and Mo Yuan looked at each other and saw the embarrassment in their eyes. Mo Yuan said, "Ha ha ha. I was so anxious just now that I couldn't help but take a step back." Zhang Ping said, "Understood, understood. My feet were a little itchy just now and I wanted to adjust the buckle on my feet." With that said, the two of them stared at Yang Wei. "What about you?" Yang Wei was so anxious that he scratched his head and could not think of any good excuse for a while. Zhang Ping and Mo Yuan said in unison, "Looks like you're afraid." Yang Wei. Are these the Germinal organization's martial artists? They're too timid. A hoarse voice sounded from the cloak. The 3 of them were immediately furious. With so many of them being forced back by a single person, it would be too embarrassing if word of this got out. "Attack, charge up." Yang Wei roared and retreated half a step, commanding the 3rd realm, 4th realm, and 5th realm martial artists behind him to rush up. The martial artists behind him curled their lips, but they did not dare to disobey Yang Wei's orders. Otherwise, Yang Wei and the other 2 would probably find another way to get them to charge. All kinds of skills were immediately thrown towards the city wall. As long as it was not a 6th realm martial artist's skill, Lin Xianchun would be able to block it even without the equipment with high resistance. However, it was as if all those skills landing on him were water splashing on his body, not leaving any traces. "It's my turn." A huge fireball more than 6 meters in diameter quickly formed in Lin Xian's palm. The martial artists under the city wall immediately swallowed when they saw the huge, hot fireball. Damn! Did manager number 3 also face this fireball that day? Wasn't this too terrifying? Retreat, retreat, retreat. All of you, disperse. Zhang Ping shouted and immediately activated his skill to increase his speed, hurriedly pouncing to the side. Yang Wei and Mo Yuan also rolled to the side like lazy donkeys. Only those martial artists who did not react in time stared at the huge fireball that was quickly approaching with shocked expressions. Boom! Flames soared into the sky. The martial artists in the center of the fireball instantly evaporated without even leaving behind a trace. Chapter 62. I'm the best at lazing away. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 62. I'm the best at lazing away. The flames dissipated, leaving only a black mark on the ground. Zhang Peng, Mo Yuan, and Yang Wei swallowed their saliva as they watched. Of course, they were not hungry, but frightened. Who else wants to die? The voice that sounded from under the black cloak became increasingly hoarse. The three of them trembled and instinctively shook their heads. Zhang Peng coughed lightly and said solemnly, "Let's retreat first and think about how to deal with this first." Mo Yuan and Yang Wei nodded vigorously, "That's right." Hearing the three people's orders, the other martial artists also heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly retreated. They only stopped after retreating from the attack range of flame explosion. Zhang Peng said, "I think we still need to rely on the people on the south wall and the three managers to attack the White Crane town. Am I right?" Mo Yuan and Yang Wei nodded crazily, "That makes a lot of sense." "You're right." Zhang Peng said, "The attack power of our east and west city walls is only to delay the guards of White Crane town. In that case, even if we don't attack with all our strength, as long as we have dragged flame explosion here, our goal has been achieved. Am I right?" Mo Yuan and Yang Wei nodded crazily again. "Your strategic skills are on point. We are very impressed." Zhang Peng said in satisfaction, "Then we'll just throw out some skills for show. In any case, we just have to act as if we're attacking the city." Mo Yuan and Yang Wei directly raised their thumbs and were not stingy with their praise. "This battle plan is good." Through the eyes of his avatar, Lin Xian saw Zhang Peng and the others gathered together and discussing. He couldn't help but feel that they were up to no good. Unexpectedly, after a while of discussion, Zhang Peng and the other two actually led the martial artists to approach again. However, this time, Zhang Peng was the first to attack. The skill he used this time was a slanted fire arrow. Not only did it deviate far from the target, but it even freaking shot onto the city wall. It did not even reach the city wall. "According to this attack frequency and strength, I think flame explosion should be able to tell," Zhang Peng said in a low voice. Then, something very strange happened. Shouts of killing shook the sky from the western city wall. Every martial artist used all their strength before charging over, shouting until their faces and necks turned red. However, the final skills that were released were pitifully small. They were not powerful skills that they often used, but weak skills that were low in level. Various crooked small fireballs, bolts of lightning, and frost arrows flew over. Their speed was simply slower than an old man in his 70s or 80s. Lin Xian even felt that he could send these attacks flying with a casual flick of his finger. At this moment, Lin Xian also understood what these people meant. He was immediately at a loss whether to laugh or cry. "You guys sure are a crafty bunch." He smiled and simply played along with them. Zhang Peng, Mo Yuan, and Yang Wei immediately smiled at the city wall in tacit understanding, and even had a hint of gratitude. He understood. Flame explosion actually played along. On the southern city wall. The three managers saw the flames rising from the western city wall from afar. Manager number 1 used his skill, wide domain perception, and even saw the figure enveloped in a cloak at a glance. After hearing manager number 1's description, manager number 3 gritted his teeth in hatred. "That's him. Flame explosion. He's indeed from the construction division." Number 2 scratched his head. Did the construction division ever have such a person? Could it be that he was scouted by the construction division after he joined the Germinal organization? There were so many people on the western city wall, but they were actually blocked by flame explosion alone. It can only be said that Flame Explosion's reputation is too great, forcing them to not dare to be too rash. Manager number 1 shook his head repeatedly. Strange, there's only one person standing on the east wall too. His entire body is enveloped in an iron bucket-like armor. Manager number 1 used his vast regional perception to look at the east wall again and said curiously. The construction division of White Crane Town was actually so bold. They only arranged for 2 people to guard the east and west city walls. Manager number 2 asked, Number 1, are we not going to make a move? Why don't we let Black directly attack one of the city walls with lightning speed? Black, who was beside them, immediately rolled his eyes. Number 1 shook his head. No, we have to wait for the other party's 7th realm martial artist to appear first. Now, we're competing on patience. Whoever's high-level combat strength appears first will fall into a disadvantageous position first. This is a card game. We can't just throw out the biggest trump card we have. Number 1 pointed at the south wall. The other party piled all the martial artists on the south wall and even installed many unmanned defensive towers on the south wall, causing us to be unable to attack fiercely. However, their east and west city walls are their weakness. As long as we attack from either of these walls, it can cause an avalanche effect. At that time, the 7th realm martial artists of the construction division will have no choice but to attack. Our strategic goal will then be achieved. Number 2 nodded repeatedly, but he was anxious for the construction division members in White Crane Town. Wasn't it too dangerous for only 2 people to guard the east and west city walls? At least send more people. On the east wall, Lu Luo, Wen Xiong, and the other 6th realm martial artists were the leaders of this attack on the east wall. When they discovered that the one guarding this city wall was a martial artist in iron bucket-like armor, their mood was a little dumbfounded. This was too much. Wasn't the other party basically looking down on them? L.C. Lu Luo was a little worried. What was the construction division doing? Why were they only sending one person to guard the city? How was she supposed to act like the enemy in such a situation? Lin Xian cleared his throat and shouted, Tell me your name. Iron Wall won't kill nameless people. Iron Wall. What a strange code name. Lu Luo's face flashed with confusion. Where did Shield Ghost go? Could this person be Shield Ghost? She had never seen the face that was hidden under Shield Ghost's black armor. In her eyes, if Shield Ghost had been equipped with other equipment, he would probably have become a different person. She tried to use Observer and could only see about 20% of the information. The other party's name and highest attributes were not exposed at all. When Xiong ignored him and said to Lu Luo and the others, this person is wearing heavy armor. He should be a martial artist with high defense and high HP who uses reflective damage to attack. I'll distract him. You guys attack from afar. He rushed over and stomped the ground. His legs compressed as he jumped up high like a spring. The pair of iron fists smashed straight towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian stretched out his hand, and frost suddenly gathered in his palm. In an instant, an ice spear nearly 2 meters long suddenly formed, filled with cold air. Ice spear technique. Lin Xian suddenly unleashed the ice spear technique. With the enhancement of more than 100 points of strength, the ice spear left his hand and smashed towards Wen Xiong. In the air, Wen Xiong was a live target. He was directly struck in the chest by the ice spear, and he spat out blood violently and fell heavily from the sky. This attack directly took away 1/3 of his health. Wen Xiong was so frightened that he hurriedly took out a health potion from the storage compartment and gulped it down. Shouldn't this guy have high defense and high HP? How is he able to use the ice spear technique? The damage is also so freaking high. Wen Xiong was dumbfounded. Wen Xiong was also considered an above-average expert in the Germinal organization base. His advancement to the first realm and second realm had been perfect. Why was it that ever since he encountered Shield Ghost, awesome martial artists kept popping up like leaks, each more ferocious and ridiculous than the other? Now, even a martial artist wearing heavy armor and ice spear technique had appeared. Was there anything more ridiculous than this? Chapter 63. Fight to the death. Slacking off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 63. Fight to the death. Slacking off. Lin Xian smiled. Everyone, I'm actually a lone wolf that wanders the wilderness. I just got paid yesterday by the construction division to guard the city wall. I don't want to spend too much effort. I hope you can cooperate. In this way, it won't be tiring for you and for me. How good is that? With that said, many of the Germinal martial artists who had been sent to attack the east wall instinctively nodded in agreement. Also, there is a 7th realm martial artist in White Crane Town. Take a guess. What do you think will happen to you guys after you defeat me and break through the east wall where the 7th realm martial artist is located? The other party will definitely run to the east wall immediately and kill all of you. Lin Xian spread out his hands. Therefore, let's not make this battle too intense. The Germinal martial artists heard this and nodded again. A part of this was because of the powerful strength of this person who called himself Iron Wall. Even when Xiong was severely injured by a single attack. If they rushed forward, wouldn't many of them die? After being reminded of the 7th realm martial artist by Lin Xian, they realized that breaking through the city wall might not be a good thing. After all, it might attract that big shot. After luring out the 7th realm martial artist, they would indeed achieve Manager No. 1's strategic intention. However, what about these people who were attacking the east wall? Wouldn't they be slapped to death by that big shot? Lu Luo was overjoyed. This guy was a genius. He seemed like a ferocious man with muscles in his head, but when he spoke in such a manner, it immediately lowered the morale of the Germinal martial artists. Of course, Lu Luo would not say that out loud. The 2 7th realm martial artists that were called in as reinforcements from the Germinal organization's headquarters had not appeared yet. Those 2 were the greatest hidden danger. Before the situation was known, she could not expose herself. Lu Luo immediately berated, "Nonsense. How can you shake the will of us Germinal martial artists?" She immediately took out a green longbow from the storage compartment, nocked an arrow, and shot it at Lin Xian. Swish. 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 3 arrows shot out. Lin Xian also took out his shield to resist. The arrow collided with the shield and actually forced him to retreat 3 steps. How powerful! Is this an expert among the 6th realm Germinal organization's martial artists? You're much stronger than that stupid big guy just now. Lin Xian's tone was solemn, as if he had really encountered a powerful enemy. Lu Luo said, "You're not bad either. You even blocked my 3-star consecutive arrows." As expected of a lone wolf valued by the construction division who guards a city wall alone. Wen Xiong. He whispered, "Sister Lu, I remember that you usually use a huge black sickle." Lu Luo also replied in a low voice, "That's right. Then why are you using a bow now? It doesn't seem like you've leveled up this weapon, but you still forced the other party to retreat repeatedly." Lu Luo patted his shoulder and said earnestly, "This is because we're in a real battle. You still have to learn more from me." Wen Xiong's mouth fell open. Seeing Lu Luo and Iron Wall fight and appreciate each other, his mind fell into a daze. The other Germinal martial artists also frowned. Some understood, some did not. Some pretended that they understood, while others pretended that they didn't. Soon, the first warrior stepped forward. "Iron Wall. Eat my venomous poison arrow." This 4th realm martial artist also took out an ordinary white-grade longbow that he had never used before. He carefully took aim and fired it seriously. The venomous poison arrow left the bow and accurately struck its target, which was the city wall 3 meters away. This fourth realm martial artist sighed. Iron Wall probably has a long-range skill that can interfere with arrows. My venomous poison arrow won't be able to injure him. Then, he suddenly perked up. However, I won't give up. I will live and die as a member of the Germinal organization. I will resolutely follow the orders of the 3 managers and fight to the death. He rested for 10 seconds and bent the bow again. This time, he successfully made the arrow hit his target, the city wall 2.5 meters away. This fourth realm martial artist set a good example. After him, the many martial artists sent to attack the east wall began to attack the city wall seriously. They took out low-grade equipment that had never been upgraded and used skills that they had not invested any experience points into. One after another, crooked fireballs, ice awls, lightning chains, acid erosion art, and consecutive arrows were unleashed. Very few skills ended up hitting the city wall. At the same time, there also weren't many skills that could injure Lin Xian. However, they refused to give up. They fought again and again. This tenacious spirit flowed and sublimated among all the martial artists. I see. I completely understand. Seeing this scene, Wen Xiong was deep in thought. Are you guys trying to slack? Before he could finish speaking, Lu Luo kicked him. Shut up. You're interrupting my battle with Iron Wall. Wen Xiong, the muscle man, had an aggrieved expression. He also began to throw small fireballs at the east wall. However, these small fireballs were probably not much bigger than the size of his thumb. Seeing this, Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. It seemed like everyone got it. This also reflected that the Germinal organization lacked loyalty. Even the loyal lackeys of manager number 3, Yang Wei, Zhang Peng, and Yang Wei, could not help but slack off because of the fear of flame explosion. Needless to say, under Lu Luo's guidance, all the martial artists on the east wall very wisely began to slack off. They looked solemn and serious, but they were actually very relaxed. Those who did not know might even think that they were doing battle drills. Outside the southern city wall, the battle was extremely intense. Every minute and every second, a large number of skills were used as both sides exchanged blows. Skills of various colors lit up the entire area. Thanks to Lin Xian, Yi Yuqiu did not need to assign construction division members to guard the east and west walls. Instead, she placed everyone on the south wall and focused on resisting the main force of the Germinal organization. As for the main force of the Germinal organization, because they were directly in front of the 3 managers, they did not dare to slack off at all and could only bite the bullet and charge forward. However, White Crane Town had the advantage of the high ground. Moreover, it was usually well trained and had the support of an unmanned defensive tower. For a moment, it held the advantage. More and more martial artists from the Germinal organization died under the city wall. Many Germinal martial artists were already fearful and afraid. Manager number 1's expression also gradually darkened. What was going on? Were the east and west walls that difficult to attack? There was clearly only one person guarding each wall. Manager number 2 also had a very anxious expression, and he even paced back and forth very cooperatively, as if he was anxious because of this anxious battle situation. In fact, he was extremely happy. He was simply overjoyed. Ha 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 ha. Where did the construction division find such an expert? The 2 of them defended 2 walls. Now, I want to see how number 1's plan can continue. They better hurry and let those 2 7th realm martial artists appear. Manager number 2 laughed heartily in his heart as he thought to himself. At this moment, manager number 3 took the initiative to step forward. Number 1, it's my turn. Manager number 1 frowned deeply. Alright, choose a city wall to attack. I'll give you 20 minutes. You have to take down one of the city walls. Number 3 did not say anything and rushed straight to the western city wall of White Crane Town. His target was the figure enveloped in a black cloak on the western city wall. Flame explosion. He swore to kill him this time. He wanted to avenge his previous humiliation. Chapter 64. Take this. Flame explosion plus 205% damage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 64. Take this. Flame explosion plus 205% damage. On the western city wall. Zhang Peng, Yang Wei, and Mo Yuan were originally still lazily chatting with Lin Xian. A violent wind suddenly shot over, blowing until their faces hurt. By the time they reacted, Manager Number 3's slender figure had already appeared in front of them. That cold and arrogant face looked down at them. The three of them immediately felt fear. Trash. The Germinal organization has raised you for so long. What a damn waste. Manager Number 3 berated coldly. The three of them turned red in the face. Even if they were berated, they did not dare to retort. Lin Xian stood on the western city wall and narrowed his eyes. With the two training avatars in the Poison Miasma Cave and the training avatars in the inferior Demon Mountain, I've already accumulated more than 1 billion experience points. I can only increase my cultivation by 1 level. Then, I'll increase my cultivation level. I'll add all 8 attribute points to my constitution. Lin Xian muttered the word increase and his level increased to level 2 6th realm. As soon as Manager Number 3 appeared, Lin Xian recalled the 389 agility points he had seen that night. It really made one feel like his back was being pierced. Flame explosion, I'm here to kill you. After berating Zhang Peng and the other two, Manager Number 3 pulled out the poison frost blade from the storage compartment and pointed at Lin Xian from afar with a cold voice. Bang! He suddenly stepped on the ground, his legs jumping, and he leaped up the city wall. Lin Xian naturally could not let him climb up the city wall so easily. He immediately used flame explosion. Boom! Flame explosion easily hit Manager Number 3, and the latter's figure instantly disappeared in the bright flames. Zhang Peng and the other two were dumbfounded. Manager Number 3 had been hit so easily. Impossible. Lin Xian subconsciously used the fire ring technique. Clang. A groan sounded from 3 meters behind him. Then, the air in the region swayed slightly, and an outline resembling a human appeared. Lin Xian immediately reacted. The one who had been hit by flame explosion just now was only Number 3's avatar. The real Manager Number 3 had long climbed up the city wall in a flash to attack him from behind. Flame explosion. Lin Xian was not stingy with his magic power at all. He flipped his hand and used flame explosion. Manager Number 3 had to use Wind Walk to increase his movement speed to avoid this attack. However, this time, he suddenly discovered that the damage range of flame explosion was even greater. He had clearly accelerated and escaped the damage range of flame explosion, but his body was still charred, and his health had also decreased by about 10%. The strength of his fire magic has increased again. Manager Number 3 frowned deeply. How did he do this? How long had it been? His combat strength had actually increased greatly. If flame explosion was still as powerful as before, he felt that he would definitely win. However, flame explosion's strength suddenly soared, immediately pulling the scales of the battle back. Before Manager Number 3 could attack, Lin Xian used another flame explosion. He did not stop at all, as if his magic power was endless. Manager Number 3 was very aggrieved. He could only dodge around 10 meters away from Lin Xian, failing to close the distance. As for the splash damage of flame explosion, it was constantly wearing down Number 3's health points. He had chosen to become a high sensitivity and high level assassin. His health recovery speed was not too high. If his health was exhausted like this, he would still be the one to fail in the end. I have to attack with lightning speed and immediately injure him severely. Manager number 3's eyes flashed with coldness as he directly activated his strongest skill, Bloodthirsty Assault. Buzz. After activating this skill, he immediately obtained a 15% highest attribute enhancement, an additional 20% critical hit chance, an additional 20% movement speed, 90% additional critical damage, and 70% life steal. From Lin Xian's point of view, Manager number 3's speed suddenly increased. He suddenly avoided the main damage range of flame explosion and stabbed fiercely at Lin Xian's chest. Just like last time, the two blades seemed to fail to penetrate the hard armor. However, this time, after Manager number 3 activated the Bloodthirsty Assault, his strength increased greatly. His two blades pierced through his cloak and also the hard armor, almost piercing through the skin below. Critical hit. He had 389 agility points and already had a very high critical hit rate. Coupled with the critical damage from his skills, Advanced Critical Hit Mastery, and Bloodthirsty Assault, the critical hit rate had already accumulated a terrifying level. If the agility of Flame Explosion was any lower, and both sides' agility was suppressed, it would be almost a 100% critical hit. However, number 3 had been mistaken. There was no critical hit at all. Lin Xian had a skill that could reduce the other party's highest attributes by 15%. In addition, Lin Xian's black cloak was a demon flame set from the blazing fire planes. It was embedded with the Fatal Spirit Medicine rune group, but what he was wearing was the Giant Shield set. On the other hand, the Giant Shield set was embedded with the Impregnable Gold rune group. The Impregnable Gold rune group was currently at level 9 5th realm. The three effects were an increase of 15% health points, and the passive ability that allowed any attack's critical hit chance that landed on this equipment to decrease by 80%. Any attack that landed on this equipment would also help Lin Xian recover 25 health points. The high critical hit chance that Manager number 3 was proud of was simply ineffective against him. In fact, it was even inferior to a normal attack. After this attack, Manager number 3's expression suddenly turned green and changed drastically. He was actually poisoned. Moreover, it was a ferocious poison. As a highly sensitive and powerful assassin who walked in the dark, it was impossible for him to level up his poison resistance. At most, he could only eat the attribute items dropped in the mystic realm controlled by the Germinal organization and increase his poison resistance as much as possible. This led to his health points decreasing rapidly, as if his health was a fried chicken being consumed by a starving man. Not only did my poison frost blade not poison him, but he even poisoned me. Manager number 3 hurriedly took out a bottle of antidote from the storage compartment and wanted to drink it. How dare you disrespect me by drinking medicine in front of me? Lin Xian backhandedly used Flame Explosion, forcing Manager number 3 to stop drinking the medicine and forcefully dodge. Manager number 3 was poisoned because of the effect of the Fatal Spirit Medicine rune group. After the rune group was embedded in the armor, any venomous poison or ferocious poison attack that lands on this equipment will cause the attacker to suffer a ferocious poison state. Lin Xian sneered. Flames gathered in his left hand as he used another flame explosion. Manager number 3 was about to dodge when Lin Xian suddenly used his Ice Spear technique. The damage of the Ice Spear technique was not considered high, but it would cause the other party to have an additional effect of Shrouding Frost, greatly reducing their movement speed. Manager number 3 did not expect that a freaking fire mage like Flame Explosion would actually use Ice Spear technique out of the blue. He was immediately hit, and his speed decreased greatly. Then, Lin Xian activated the Demon King of Fury. A huge fireball quickly gathered in Lin Xian's hands. He originally already had plus 10% fire damage. The Demon King of Fury's passive skill increased fire damage by 15%, and its active skill increased fire damage by 40%. The Blazing Fire technique had plus 60% fire damage. The Demon Flame set had plus 20% fire damage. The rune group, Let the Flames Purify Everything, also increased the fire damage by 30%. Moreover, the Scarlet Wave Rush rune group reduced the other party's fire resistance by 15%, which was equivalent to increasing fire damage by 15%. Finally, because of the demonized body, Lin Xian would enter the demonized state after getting hurt. All damage would increase by 15%. Take this. Flame explosion technique with a total of plus 205% damage. A fireball more than 7 meters in diameter slowly rose, and heat waves surged. Chapter 65. Good acting skills, worthy of Best Actor Award. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 65. Good acting skills, worthy of Best Actor Award. The huge fireball attracted everyone's attention. Even the construction division and the Germinal organization's main force, including the mayor Yi Yuqiu and the two managers of the Germinal organization, instinctively looked up at the fireball. Yi Yuqiu's phoenix eyes widened. That friend of shield ghosts is this powerful. A fireball of this diameter can only be unleashed by a level 9 6th realm martial artist with a spirit attribute of at least 350. Manager number 1 said in shock, nobody below the 7th realm can resist this. Manager number 2 was shocked. Is that caused by flame explosion? This is bad, this is bad. Something bad is going to happen to number 3. Number 1, we have to go and save him as soon as possible. Of course, he was secretly overjoyed. Flame explosion was awesome. It would be best if he could kill manager number 3 instantly. After the battle, he would be the first to award him. Number 1 gritted his teeth. Black, I'll have to trouble you to save number 3. Gulp gulp gulp. Manager number 1. Wait, I'll drink some more wine before fighting. Black Tun drank all the wine in the bottle in one gulp. Only then did he throw the empty bottle into manager number 2's arms and instantly disappear into the darkness. When he appeared again, he had already arrived at the western city wall. At this moment, manager number 3 was lying on the ground with his limbs spread out. His entire body was charred black, and he had almost turned into a humanoid charcoal. Many of his quenching poison frost blade had shattered, and a few of his equipment had also shattered, but he was not dead. That shouldn't be the case. After decelerating him just now, he was in the center of the damage range of my flame explosion. He should have been killed instantly. Lin Xian pondered over it and could only guess that it was because of the special effects of some special equipment. After all, he also had the giant shield set. He could gain immunity to fatal damage, but the cooldown time was very long. Manager number 3 had been a manager for several years. He should also have such powerful life preservation means. Manager number 3 opened his eyes with difficulty and wanted to get up, but he realized that his entire body was burning and he could not get up at all. He could not even take out the life potion from the storage compartment. Lin Xian was about to attack when he used another flame explosion to finish manager number 3. However, Black suddenly appeared and blocked in front of manager number 3. Although I don't like number 3 either, I won't let you kill him so easily. Black stood in front of Lin Xian empty-handed with a calm expression. Lord Black. Kill him. Take revenge for Sir number 3. Kill flame explosion. Damn this flame explosion. Below the city, Zhang Peng, Yang Wei, and Mo Yuan were furious, and their saliva flew everywhere. Just now, they had been silent and did not dare to rush up the city wall to help. Now, they all acted as if manager number 3 was their father who had been severely injured by flame explosion. Black ignored the words of those people and did not look at Lin Xian who was enveloped in a black cloak. Instead, he looked at the city wall. A short-haired woman in a white suit and white slim pants was standing there. Mayor Yi, come and fight, Black smiled and said. Yi Yuqiu suddenly stepped on the ground and arrived at the city wall. The 7th realm martial artist in White Crane Town was the mayor, Yi Yuqiu. Black kicked manager number 3 down the city wall and let him smash him into Zhangpeng and the other two. Give him 2 bottles of life potion. He can't die yet. Zhangpeng and the other two were very dumbfounded. Did this mean that he was supposed to die later? They were very dumbfounded, but they did not dare to say anything. They could only help manager number 3 open his mouth and drink the life potion. Although the entire world had already been digitized and martial artists also had health, energy, and magic power, they were still not invincible. If one suffered a fatal attack, one's body would still be damaged. For example, if one was blinded, one would suffer double the damage. After replenishing one's health points, it would also take a long time for the eye to grow back. If one's constitution was high, this period of time would be shortened. Manager number 3 was currently covered in high burns and was on the verge of death. Even if his health points were replenished, it was impossible for him to recover his combat strength instantly. He would have to rest in bed for at least a week or 2 to completely recover. Yi Yuqiu said, "Go to the other city walls. I'll deal with this lackey of the Germinal organization." Black smiled faintly. "I'm only doing things for money. How did I become a lackey?" Lin Xian cursed in his heart. These two people clearly knew each other's identity, but they were still acting. They were really professional. At this moment, the sound of a helicopter rotor suddenly sounded from the north of White Crane Town. Then, a Black Eagle helicopter pierced through the night sky and appeared in everyone's sight. 2 figures jumped down when the helicopter was dozens of meters away from the ground. Bang bang. The 2 of them directly landed on the northern city wall of White Crane Town, almost smashing a huge pit in the city wall. Yi Yuqiu's pupils suddenly constricted. The Germinal organization support had finally arrived. Just as she had expected, the other party had kept this trump card hidden until she appeared. Now that she was left on the western city wall to fight Black, the other places in White Crane Town were no longer guarded. At this moment, there wasn't anyone to defend against these 2 7th realm martial artists. Only a 7th realm martial artist could defend against a 7th realm martial artist. Very few level 9 6th realm martial artists could directly face the terrifying strength of a level 1 7th realm martial artist. There was a huge divide in between. This is White Crane Town. It looks very ordinary. Let's quickly finish our work. 2 figures jumped down from the city wall and directly shattered a house under the northern city wall. A family of 3 was originally taking refuge in a nearby house, but as soon as they walked out, they happened to encounter these 2 figures. The figure on the left bowed slightly and smiled. "Our sudden appearance has interrupted your rest. I'm really sorry." The husband heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that this outsider was still quite easy to talk to. He grabbed onto his wife and daughter's hands tightly. It's fine. If there's nothing else, we'll go home." Before they could finish speaking, the 3 of them were instantly beheaded by the flash of a blade, and their headless corpses sprayed out. The figure on the right also bowed slightly and smiled. "Seeing the 3 of you so happy and harmonious, as an unhappy person, I felt really jealous. Therefore, I couldn't help but behead the 3 of you. I'm really sorry." Lin Xian watched from afar as the 2 of them smiled and apologized after killing those people, and his heart turned cold. Manager number 1 laughed loudly. "The 2 big shots have come to support us. Without the obstruction of a 7th realm martial artist, taking down the White Crane Town will be a breeze." Manager number 2 also laughed heartily, but his laughter was not so natural. Good. White Crane Town is about to fall into the hands of the Germinal organization." Yi Yuqiu raised her eyebrows and immediately wanted to save the situation. Black stopped her. "With me around, you won't be able to go anywhere." Sword shadows flashed crazily. Yi Yuqiu and Black exchanged more than 10 moves in a flash. The 2 of them fought from the top of the western city wall to the bottom of the western city wall. Yi Yuchio was hit by the other party fiercely, instantly flying for more than 10 meters and collapsing a house. She spat out a mouthful of blood in the air, and everyone could see it clearly. Black followed closely behind and was aggressive. Yi Yuchio fell into a complete disadvantage and was already covered in injuries. Her white suit and pants were torn in many places and stained with blood. Lin Xian clicked his tongue in wonder. The two of them were too good at acting. Even the Oscar-winning Best Actors did not even have the right to carry their shoes. Moreover, he also keenly observed that although Black seemed to be the one winning, they were actually slowly approaching the two 7th realm outsiders. If it's a 2-on-1 battle, winning would be too simple. As martial artists, it would not be honorable for us to do this. Brother, you're right. Why don't we treat everyone in White Crane Town as our enemies? In this way, we'll have more than 1,000 enemies. This is a good idea. This way, it will be very honorable. The two of them chatted as they approached Yi Yuchio. Chapter 66. Foolish brother, we've been ambushed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 66. Foolish brother, we've been ambushed. Under the moonlight, Yi Yuchio finally saw the faces of these two people. They also had black hair, black eyes, and yellow skin, but for some reason, they felt strange. The two of them had cold and ruthless features, as if they were carved from the same mold. They were probably twins. 7th realm martial artists twins. This was quite rare. A code name quickly appeared in Yi Yuchio's mind. The Azura twins. The older brother called himself Blood Azura, and the younger brother called himself Hungry Azura. Two 7th realm martial artists from the High Heaven Plains organization. Their greatest characteristic was their killing nature. It was said that before joining the High Heaven Plains, the two of them had wandered in the wilderness, killing and snatching treasures everywhere. In the end, they were subdued by a 9th realm martial artist from the High Heaven Plains, and only then did they join the High Heaven Plains. It turned out that the headquarters behind the Germinal organization was High Heaven Plains. This lady is very beautiful. She's in her 20s, the most beautiful age for women. However, I don't like beautiful things. It makes me feel ugly, Blood Azura said with a smile. I have a different opinion from my brother. This lady's left leg is very beautiful, her eyes are very beautiful, and her lips are very beautiful, but they don't seem beautiful when placed on this body. Honorable lady, please allow me to take away your beautiful features. They don't belong on your body. Hungry Azura bowed slightly like a gentleman. Yi Yuchio sneered. Idiots. Blood Azura and Hungry Azura covered their ears at the same time with frightened expressions. Honorable lady, how can you say such a filthy word? It will dirty our ears. Honorable lady, it's not my place to interfere with your filthy words. However, with all due respect, since your lips have said such things, in my opinion, they are no longer beautiful. Yi Yuchio's expression did not change. The other party's words were extremely respectful, but their actions were the most vicious. The Azura twins were such people. Then, this. Mr. Black, whose information we can't see clearly. Can you move aside? We're about to attack. The scene might be a little bloody. I hope it won't dirty your eyes. Blood Azura pulled out a long, thin, blood-red tachi from the storage compartment and bowed to Black's smile. Black took out a bottle of Red Star Erguoto and began to drink it. Alright, I'm only here because someone's paying me to do this. With that said, he made room and sat aside to watch. Up to now, the battle had already completely become a battle between 7th realm martial artists. If the 7th realm martial artist from the Construction Division won, White Crane Town would be safe and sound. If the Germinal organization's 7th realm martial artist won, White Crane Town would be reduced to a fish on a chopping block. The 6th realm and 5th realm martial artists below were simply unable to determine the outcome of the battle. On the southern city wall, the battle between the Germinal Organization and the Construction Division martial artists was still ongoing. However, everyone knew that the true battle had nothing to do with them. In particular, after seeing that the Germinal Organization had a total of 3 7th realm martial artists, despair immediately rose in their hearts. It was too difficult for one person to win against 3. In this kind of atmosphere, the combat strength of the Construction Division martial artists began to decline. A 6th realm martial artist from the Construction Division accidentally revealed a flaw and was killed by a 6th realm Germinal Organization martial artist, becoming the first 6th realm martial artist to be killed in this battle. His death had become a breakthrough point. The Germinal martial artists marched straight in, and the Construction Division martial artists kept retreating. They had no choice but to give up the city gate and guard beside Yi Yuqiu like trapped beasts. Manager number 1 and Manager number 2 broke through the city gate under the escort of the Germinal martial artists and entered White Crane Town. Seeing that there were 3 7th realm martial artists on their side and only one severely injured Yi Yuqiu in White Crane Town, Manager number 1 laughed loudly. Looks like White Crane Town does not have any more trump cards. We won. Manager number 1's tactical thinking had always been very clear. He forced the other party to use up all their trump cards until they ended up with no more trump cards. If the other party's final trump card was already used but their own trump card was not, then it would be their victory. Now, Yi Yuqiu was already covered in injuries and blood, but there were still no 7th realm martial artists who jumped out to help in White Crane Town. This meant that White Crane Town really only had one 7th realm martial artist. In that case, the outcome was decided. Lin Xian somewhat understood Yi Yuqiu's plan. Yi Yuqiu was the first to step forward and compete with Black, pretending to be defeated. After seeing that no one came out to save her even after Yi Yuqiu was injured to this extent, the enemy would definitely assume that there were no more 7th realm martial artists. This was why they were at ease and were bold enough to let the Azura twins appear. Then, was there still a 7th realm martial artist in White Crane Town? If there were no more 7th realm experts, this outcome of this battle would indeed be irreversible. At this moment, he noticed an ordinary old man slowly walk over. He was clearly walking towards Occupied, but it was as if no martial artist had noticed him, including the Azura twins. Only 2 people present noticed the old man. One was Lin Xian, and the other was Manager number 1. It's that old man from the security pavilion, but isn't he at level 9 6th realm? Lin Xian was shocked. At this moment, Hungry Azura pulled out his Tachi and stomped on the ground, rushing in front of Yi Yuqiu and slashing down. He had slashed at the other party's thigh. He had said that Yi Yuqiu's leg was very good, so he wanted to cut it off. However, Yi Yuqiu only had a faint sneer on her face. The Tachi slashed down in a powerful arc. However, the scene of blood splashing and her limb breaking did not appear. Instead, an ear-piercing sound of metal colliding sounded. Clang! Hungry Azura's hand trembled violently. The recoil from the previous attack made him unable to even hold his Tachi steady. Hungry Azura raised his head and discovered that the person in front of him was no longer that beautiful woman. Instead, it was a big-nosed old man. This old man was bare-chested, revealing his robust muscles. The old man had directly blocked that attack just now. The strange thing was that the other party actually did not have any injuries at all. The old man smiled smugly. Looks like I still have it in me. He turned around and punched Hungry Azura in the chest. Bang! Hungry Azura was caught off guard and seemed to have been struck by a huge elephant. His entire body flew more than 10 meters and smashed into a house before stopping. Manager number 1's expression suddenly changed. Those who could block a full strength attack of a 7th realm martial artist and send a 7th realm martial artist flying were naturally 7th realm martial artists. Who was this old man? He couldn't help but wonder why he hadn't heard anything about this from his informant. Moreover, When Yuuchio was beaten until her entire body was covered in injuries, the Azura twins had already relaxed and lowered their vigilance. The sudden appearance of this old man caught Azura Hungry off guard. The other party had clearly planned this. Where did their information come from? Blood Azura's expression changed slightly and he immediately wanted to help out. However, the next moment. Pfft! The thin dagger suddenly pierced through Blood Azura's chest. If not for Blood Azura having experienced countless battles and instinctively dodging, the attack just now would have pierced through his heart. Blood Azura immediately endured the pain and activated his skill, quickly pulling away. It was none other than Black who attacked him. At this moment, Black had finished the bottle of Red Star Erguoto and mimicked their tone. He smiled and bowed. Honorable Blood Azura, I'm sorry to make a move when you're so excited. However, I still want to say that I hope you die as soon as possible. If that happens, I'll be very happy. Manager number 1's eyes widened again. Was Black a traitor? Beside him, manager number 2 cursed, Black. You're actually a traitor. To think that I've always treated you well. Number 1 was just feeling slightly relieved before a thump sounded again. A knife suddenly pierced through manager number 1's chest. Manager number 2 had attacked with a red knife and manager number 1's health immediately fell to the bottom. He looked at manager number 2 behind him in disbelief and collapsed. You are also a traitor. Number 2 shouted, Hey! Black! As someone who's so shady, you're really something. Black threw an empty bottle over and smashed it onto manager number 2's head. Then I'll do even more shady things to you in the future. Number 2. Pretend I didn't say anything. Blood Azura roared, Brother, we've been ambushed. They originally thought that this was an unrestricted killing that could let them satisfy their urge of killing. They did not expect it to be a premeditated ambush. Was the Germinal organization's branch filled with trash? They did not even know how many 7th realm martial artists there were in White Crane Town. Even the people at the highest level were traitors. They originally thought that it would be a 3.1 battle, but it suddenly became a 2.3 battle. Moreover, they had been sneak attacked and had directly lost half his health. How were they supposed to fight? I know, a helpless voice sounded from the ruins of the house. Then, Hungry Azura crawled out. There was a deep dent in his chest. The old man's attack directly injured him. He did not expect that an ordinary-looking person could actually unleash such strength. Chapter 67. Read Country, Ghost Buddha Lamp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 67. Read Country, Ghost Buddha Lamp. Yuuchio took out a bottle of Big Life Potion from the storage compartment and drank it in one go, recovering from many injuries. Her battle with Black was only for show. She seemed to be covered in injuries, but they were actually superficial injuries. Attack! Capture the Azura twins alive! Yuuchio shouted. Yuuchio rushed towards Hungry Azura, and the black and big-nosed old man rushed towards Blood Azura. Clang! 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 Continuous sounds of metal colliding sounded in the air. Lin Xian watched their battle from afar and clicked his tongue in wonder. The thing that surprised him the most was the big-nosed old man. Wasn't this person a level 9 6th realm martial artist? Why did he suddenly seem to be rejuvenated, as if he had become young again? He was actually able to send a 7th realm martial artist flying with a punch. Lin Xian cast an observer skill over and noticed that the other party was still at level 9 6th realm. Yuuchio's combat style was also very novel. Her left hand was covered in frost, and her right hand was covered in a long sword. She looked a little like a mage-warrior in some games before he transmigrated. Some frost was used to reduce speed, and the sword was used as the main attack method. Clearly, Hungry Azura had never encountered such an attack before. Coupled with the fact that his health points were low, he was immediately caught off guard and was unable to resist. Frost covered many parts of his body, and his speed had been reduced to an extremely low level. Blood Azura's side was even worse. He was surrounded by the two enemies, and even his weapon had been struck to the ground. He could only cross his arms in front of him and retreat as he fought. After parrying more than 10 moves in a row, his arms were already covered in blood and flesh, and white bones could be seen. "My dear brother, I can't beat him. I can only run." Hungry Azura's saber barely brushed away Yi Yuchio's sword as he roared. "My dear brother, I know." Blood Azura vomited blood from the beating and quickly moved towards Hungry Azura. Hungry Azura immediately took out a blue lamp from the storage compartment and suddenly shattered it. A blue fire suddenly enveloped them. The flames were cold, as if they came from the 9 nether abyss. Yi Yuchio's sword slashed forward, but it was as if it had struck an incomparably firm rock and was unable to injure Hungry Azura within. "I didn't expect you guys to also have the Ghost Buddha lamp." Yi Yuchio frowned slightly. The Ghost Buddha lamp was a prop produced by the huge mystic realm Reed Country, controlled by the High Heaven Plains. By crushing the Ghost Buddha lamp, it could form a Ghost Buddha fire that enveloped the user. Those who were enveloped by the Ghost Buddha fire were unable to be harmed, and they were also unable to attack the people outside the Ghost Buddha fire. 3 seconds later, the Ghost Buddha fire would disappear, and even the people wrapped in the Ghost Buddha fire would be sent to the Reed Country. However, the Ghost Buddha fire also had its shortcomings. A large amount of essence would be deducted every time it was used. Moreover, the more times it was used, the more essence would be deducted. Because after reaching the 7th realm, one had to use essence to advance, so deducting essence would very likely cause one's cultivation to drop a level. Losing a level also meant that the free attribute points one had obtained previously would be deducted, and one's strength would decrease greatly. It would take several years for one to recover. The construction division had dealt with all the large organizations in the world today, and this naturally included High Heaven Plains. They were deeply impressed by the shamelessness of the Ghost Buddha lamp. Several times, when a 7th realm martial artist from the construction division was about to kill the other party would use the Ghost Buddha lamp to escape. Moreover, the advantage of the Ghost Buddha lamp was that it was useless even if an enemy obtained it. This was because they would still only be transmitted to the Reed Country. Manager number 1 was still alive at this moment. He forced himself to roar, "Lord Azura, take me with you." Blood Azura shook his head. "I'm really sorry. You're just a small pawn. We're 7th realm martial artists and high-level combat strength that the organization can't lose. For our safety, we have no choice but to sacrifice your life." Manager number 1 had a dejected expression. Hungry Azura licked his lips and said to Yi Yuchio, "Beautiful lady, the next time we meet, I'll definitely personally cut off your beautiful long leg and treat it as my precious." Boom. A fireball suddenly smashed over. This attack naturally did not have any effect. After all, Lin Xian had never seen the Ghost Buddha lamp before and could not help but try. Hungry Azura. "Sir, how can you interrupt me when I'm talking excitedly? Can you tell me your name? The next time we meet, I'll personally send you off." Lin Xian jumped down from the city wall and said indifferently, "My name is Zhao Zilong of Chang Mountain." Hungry Azura said, "What a strange name. Mr. Chang Zilong, I'll remember your name. Remember to save your life. Wait for me to name it." Buzz. The Ghost Buddha fire suddenly disappeared like water vapor, and the Azura twins were also teleported away. Since the 7th realm martial artists had all escaped, the remaining Germinal martial artists were naturally not Yi Yuchio and Black's match. They either surrendered or escaped, scattering like birds and beasts. Manager number 3 was originally slowly recovering from his injuries. When he saw this scene, he was so furious that he vomited blood and fainted again. Manager number 1 was originally only left with a bit of health. He hoped that the Azura twins would bring him along, but he was directly abandoned. He had always worked hard for the germinal organization and racked his brains, but in the end, he was abandoned like this. He was so furious that he fainted. Thump. The old man seemed to have instantly lost all his energy and also fell to the ground. Yi Yuchio stepped forward and carried him with difficulty. "Uncle," the old man forced a smile. "Little Chio, don't be sad. I've lived long enough in this life. As long as I die for the construction division, my death will be a worthy death. After I die, bury me in White Crane Town. I was born here, grew up here, and died here. It was worth it." The old man forced himself to finish speaking and closed his eyes peacefully. Seeing this, Lin Xian was also silent. Indeed, there was only one 7th realm martial artist in White Crane Town. The big-nosed old man was a level 9 6th realm martial artist. However, just now, he had suddenly become stronger, even to the extent that his physical body was capable of blocking Hungry Azura's saber and sent the other party flying with a punch. It should be because his body had been stimulated by something. Lin Xian did not know what that stimulation was, but he knew it was definitely something good. After all, High Heaven Plains had only controlled a reed country, and they were already able to obtain something as good as the Ghost Buddha lamp. Since the construction division controlled 2 large mystic realms, there would definitely be something as good as the Ghost Buddha lamp. He guessed that this item was an item that could increase one's strength for a short period of time but had extremely powerful side effects. It was probably also something the construction division obtained from one of the large mystic realms. A day later, the martial artists of the construction division arrived in East Lake City. Black attacked and shattered the collars on the necks of all the Wasteland Reclaimers. The Wasteland Reclaimers were moved to tears and volunteered to join the construction division. Then, Black and Yi Yuchio brought all 6 Mystic Realm Doors of Lights that were under the germinal organization's control back to White Crane Town. Zhang Peng, Mo Yuan, Yang Wei, and the others had already felt that something was wrong last night. Especially after seeing the Azura twins escape, the 3 of them also ran away immediately. This was especially true for Yang Wei. He knew very well that when he oppressed the Wasteland Reclaimers back then, it had indirectly led to the deaths of many Wasteland Reclaimers in the Mystic Realm. If he was caught by the construction division, they would definitely settle this score with him. Thus, he could only run. Scott, after thinking about it, they could only run towards Changlo City in the south. That side was occupied by 2 small organizations, and the construction division could not do anything to them. If the 3 of them, 6th realm martial artists, went there, they would be able to occupy an area for themselves and reign over it. Under Lu Luo's persuasion, Wen Xiong joined the construction division. Manager number 1 and Manager number 3 were the main culprits in suppressing the Wasteland Reclaimers. They were tried by the construction division and were executed at the same time. All the martial artists applauded. Manager number 2 was actually Silver Fox, and Black and Lu Luo were all spies sent by the construction division to the germinal organization. They had all contributed greatly. Lastly, Shield Ghost also contributed greatly. Shield Ghost had joined the construction division and become an intern the night before the germinal organization was about to attack White Crane Town. He had brought crucial information that allowed Yi Yuchio to come up with a plan. Moreover, he also guarded the 2 city walls of the east and west with his friends, Flame Explosion. This had ruined Manager number 1's strategic intentions. All the rewards were distributed according to the construction division's standards and the battle merits were also recorded. However, throughout all of this, Lin Xian had never revealed his exact identity. In the eyes of outsiders, Lin Xian, Shield Ghost, and Flame Explosion were ultimately 3 different people. The traitor hidden in White Crane Town has not been dug out. There's no need to expose my identity. On the surface, Lin Xian was still an ordinary level 9 second realm martial artist. After taking off the Wasteland Reclaimer's collar, he was even more relaxed. Chapter 68. Teacher Black's lesson begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 68 Teacher Black's lesson begins in a house in White Crane Town. Shield Ghost, this will be your house in the future. Lu Luo arrived with Lin Xian, who was dressed in full armor. Lin Xian looked around and felt that it was not bad. There were 3 rooms and a hall. There was a master bedroom, a second bedroom, and a third room that served as a gym. There were barbells and other gym equipment. In addition, he had a bath, a squatting toilet, and water and electricity. It was completely different from the cramped single dormitory of the Germinal organization. Not bad. I like it very much. Lin Xian's deliberately hoarse voice sounded from the black armor. Lu Luo hesitated for a moment. By the way, do you really want to live here with Lin Xian and Flame Explosion? Lin Xian said, what's wrong with that? I'm friends with them. Good friends should know how to share. Lu Luo said, for 3 men to live together like this, isn't it a little? Forget it. Since you're willing, I won't say anything. I'll be staying beside you. If you have any problems that you can't resolve, you can look for me. She pointed at the house beside her. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Lu Luo handed the 5 golden runes over. Here are the 5 peerless golden runes you need. I found them all according to your request. It took me a lot of effort. She could not help but show a hint of envy. She would have to save up for a long time to obtain so many peerless golden runes. Lin Xian received the 5 runes and nodded slightly. Among the 5 runes, 2 were the lightning shattering the darkness runes, 2 were the one with the sword runes, and the last rune was the single rune magic power, that increased one's magic power. Inlaid in the glove, it could directly increase the upper limit of one's magic power by 20%. In this way, Lin Xian also had the complete set of runes for one with the sword and lightning shattering the darkness. Also, this is the battle credit card of our construction division. This is yours and this is Flame Explosion's. You delivered the information and defended the east wall. You obtained a total of 1,000 military merits. Flame Explosion defended the western wall and obtained 500. Lu Luo handed over 2 red cards. Lin Xian swept his gaze over and discovered this card was also a special equipment and was similar to Wasteland Reclaimer's collars. Aside from being a savings card, it did not have any other special effects. BDNVL.M, don't monopolize the battle merits of Flame Explosion. Lu Luo warned. Lin Xian shook his head. I'm good friends with Flame Explosion. Why would you even question me? By the way, how many battle merits do you need to enter the huge mystic realm controlled by the construction division? Lu Luo stretched out a finger. 300 per time. For each time you enter, you can stay for 3 days. Lin Xian rubbed his chin. That's a little much. There are many sources of battle merits. Other than battle merits in large-scale battles, one can also obtain battle merits by selling various high-grade items to the construction division. Or perhaps you can go to the wilderness to clean up the demon beasts to obtain battle merits, Lu Luo said casually. However, the battle merits obtained from killing the demon beasts are relatively small. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Then what if the demon beasts attack White Crane Town and I kill them? If he could lure the demon beasts to attack White Crane Town and kill them before the demon beasts arrived, wouldn't that be considered a huge contribution? Lu Luo sized him up. Don't even think about such a dangerous thing. Lin Xian coughed lightly. One last question. Where is Black? I want to ask him about professions. I'm at your house, a calm voice and a gulp sounded. Lin Xian turned around and saw a figure in black sitting on the sofa. The figure was holding a bottle of Mao Tai and was drinking it. How did you get in? Lin Xian was puzzled. Black pointed to the 2nd floor. Through the window. Lin Xian. How much do you know about professions? Black smiled. I know almost everything you want to know. Lu Luo waved her hand. Then you guys chat. Many of the Germinal organization's martial artists have surrendered, but I still have a lot to deal with. Immediately, only Lin Xian and Black were in the house. Then please tell me. I'm all ears. Lin Xian sat down opposite him. Black took a big gulp and said readily, after a 6th realm martial artist becomes a 7th realm martial artist, they will have to face the problem of choosing a profession. Professions are divided into 4 main categories according to the 4-dimensional attributes: constitution, strength, spirit, agility. Professions are divided into low-level professions, intermediate professions, and high-level professions. They correspond to 7th realm martial artists, 8th realm martial artists, and 9th realm martial artists. Every time you advance, you will obtain a profession skill. Because it's a profession skill, the essence consumed to level up is only half of the other skills. Black continued, there are 4 basic professions that correspond to 4 attributes. They are the armored warrior, mage, and assassin. Lin Xian was deep in thought. Then does that mean that there are also non-basic professions? Black snapped his fingers. Of course, for example, the Azura twins who were chased away by us last night. According to what we know, the 2 of them are both killers. Although we can't see all the information, we roughly estimate that they should also have precious purple professions. Otherwise, it's impossible for high heaven planes to let them carry precious items like the ghost Buddha lamp. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. I understand. Professions are also divided into ordinary white, uncommon green, rare blue, precious purple, and peerless golden. But you still haven't told me how you got your profession. Lin Xian was even more curious. Since professions were also divided into grades, how could he obtain the highest grade professions? If he could only obtain an ordinary white profession, wouldn't his powerful attributes be in vain? All the demon beasts in the 6th realm mystic realm might drop basic-level profession scrolls, but the probability is very low. Moreover, the higher the grade, the lower the drop rate. The construction division has experimented with this before. The drop rate of an ordinary white profession scroll is 1%, and the drop rate of a green rare profession is 1 in 1,000. As for higher-level profession scrolls, none of them were dropped in the experiments, so it's impossible to know the approximate drop rate. In addition, the profession scrolls that were dropped are completely random and have nothing to do with the mystic realm itself. To put it more clearly, for example, the profession scrolls that are dropped in the poison miasma cave might not be related to poison. Instead, all kinds of profession scrolls could be dropped there. Black smiled. Lin Xian immediately heaved a sigh of relief. So that's how it was. It turned out that even 6th realm mystic realm demon beasts could drop profession scrolls. He was so worried that he thought he would have to go out and take a risk again. Black was puzzled. You seem to have relaxed a lot. Lin Xian nodded. Since you've cleared my doubts, I've naturally become more relaxed. Black burped. Then I'll go. Also, I'll take Zhou Feng away too. He suddenly disappeared. When he appeared again, he picked up a young man from the 2nd floor. This was manager number 2, no, Silver Fox's son, Zhou Feng. Black grabbed Zhou Feng's collar with one hand and lifted him into the air. However, Zhou Feng was not unhappy at all. Instead, he danced with joy. Idle. Long time no see. In order to become stronger, I've been training seriously recently. Lin Xian. How did you get in? Through the window. Damn, learn from the best, right? Just now, Lin Xian had been too focused on listening to Black explain the professions and had not paid much attention to the surrounding situation. This brat Zhou Feng had probably crawled in at that moment. You have to be rational when chasing your idol. What if Shield Ghost is bathing naked the next time you crawl in? Black said calmly. Zhou Feng's eyes lit up. Something that good could happen to me. Black. Looks like I have to let your father teach you a lesson. Lin Xian. Go, go. Hurry up and throw this guy out. After sending these two off, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. It was finally quiet. After shaking off the germinal organization, he became an intern in the construction division and began his new life. The first step was for him to get a peerless golden profession and grind the miasma poison cave. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Chapter 69. Sign here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 69. Sign here. As soon as dawn arrived, Lin Xian walked out of his house in Shield Ghost's black armor. On the way, he encountered a group of ordinary people who had solemn expressions. The person with the highest cultivation here was only a second-realm martial artist. They were all ordinary residents. They were all silent. Wearing black clothes, they walked in a direction with a flower in each of their hands. Although the flowers in their hands were different and were only wild flowers they had picked on the way, their emotions were similar. Lin Xian pondered for a moment and also picked a wild flower to follow. The funeral was not only for the old man, but also every martial artist and ordinary person who had died in the battle last night. The entire process was very solemn, and no one spoke. The whole thing began and ended in silence. The old man's grave was nothing special. It was placed beside everyone. Lin Xian swept his gaze over. All he saw were unfamiliar names. After the funeral ended, a person stopped him. I thought you wouldn't come. Yi Yuqiu was a little surprised. You just joined the construction division and don't have much of a relationship with Uncle. Lin Xian's hoarse voice sounded from the black armor. People who die for their beliefs are worthy of everyone's respect. With that said, Lin Xian turned around and left. Yi Yuqiu clearly did not expect Shield Ghost to respond like this. She watched as Lin Xianyuan left and chuckled. Uncle said that you're not a bad person and are worth nurturing. Now, it looks like he was right. With his previous experience of entering the poison miasma cave, Lin Xian was relatively familiar with the path this time. Soon, he arrived at the 6th floor. The poison miasma cave does not produce minerals. It's a pity. I still need to leave one avatar in the inferior demon mountain. I'll leave the other 6 training avatars in the poison miasma cave. Lin Xian replaced his avatar slots and successfully placed his 6 training avatars here. After doing this, he walked to the 6th floor of the miasma poison cave safety station. The safety station in the poison miasma cave was very different from the safety station built by the germinal organization. However, its functions were similar and had runes installed to disperse the demon beasts. The runes used would only be dropped in large mystic realms and could not be embedded in equipment. They were special runes that could disperse demon beasts in a certain range as long as they were placed. This made the demon beasts instinctively feel fear and not dare to approach. However, it could only be effective in the mystic realm. It would not be effective in the outside world. Moreover, it could not be moved after being placed. If it was dug out again, it would shatter. Lin Xian walked into the safety station and casually found a corner to sit down. The staff in the safety station all looked at him in surprise. Isn't that Shield Ghost? The one who made a huge contribution last night. I also heard that when he was in East Lake City, he was not afraid of the germinal organization's threats and promises. No matter what, he refused to join the germinal organization. Later, he was developed by the Silver Fox and became an intern in our construction division. Then, he delivered us crucial information. That was why we weren't helpless when the High Heaven Plains Azura twins suddenly arrived. In my opinion, passing the information is nothing. Him and Flame Explosion guarding the 2 walls was the most impressive feat. I'm Flame Explosion's fangirl. I want to have children with brother Flame Explosion. I also like Flame Explosion. He's simply too cool and even casually unleashes large fireballs. Why don't we go and ask if there's any way to contact him? In the night, the names of Shield Ghost and Flame Explosion had already spread widely in White Crane Town. This was especially true for Flame Explosion, who casually threw out large fireballs and didn't care about fame. They were more popular among fangirls. Lin Xian was dozing off when a voice suddenly sounded from the side. Then, several logisticians surrounded him. "Mr. Shield Ghost, this is a bowl of beef ramen for you free." The round-faced little sister in the lead blushed and was very shy. Lin Xian shuddered. Damn, why were there so many people surrounding him? Fortunately, his overlord set had covered him in armor and his face was also covered. Otherwise, he would have lost his composure. "What's the matter?" Lin Xian said with a hoarse voice. The round-faced little sister said shyly, "Mr. Shield Ghost, I heard about the matter of you and your friend each guarding the city walls alone. I'm very impressed with you. So, can you get your friend, Flame Explosion, to give me an autograph?" She pulled out her pink shoulder strap. "Can you ask him to sign it here?" Lin Xian. What the hell was this? Why did the other party not ask for his autograph and asked for Flame Explosion's autograph instead? "Mr. Shield Ghost, please help me tell Flame Explosion. I like him. I like him very, very much. Mr. Shield Ghost, you and Flame Explosion are very good friends, right? Help me pass this to him. This will be our love token in the future." Mr. Shield Ghost, after the round-faced little sister, the few logisticians also pounced over excitedly. They directly threw their gifts, including a pink card and a heart-shaped pendant, into Lin Xian's arms. Lin Xian. He was at a loss of words. "How dare you guys assume his gender?" Lin Xian said solemnly. The round-faced little sister's expression froze. The other women also froze. "Whoa, he's a girl. Then I'm even more excited." The round-faced little sister suddenly shouted, and the redness on her face directly soared to her ears and neck. "Lin Xian." He stood up directly and turned to leave. Lin Xian suddenly realized that he couldn't stay at the safety station anymore. He decided that it was better for him to find a cave in the Miasma Poison Cave to lie in. 10 hours later, in a cave on the 6th floor of the Miasma Poison Cave, he stretched lazily and stood up. Current area. 6th floor of the Poison Miasma Cave, 4,600 general coin per minute, 23,000 experience points per minute. The Poison Miasma Python has been training for 10 hours and has reached the upper limit of its training time. Obtain 27.6 million general coins, 13.8 million experience points, 14 6th realm skill books, 19 6th realm equipment, 11 6th realm runes, 3 poison miasma fruits, and 2 deep rock crystals. Do you wish to collect? The poison miasma fruit and the deep rock crystal were the attribute items dropped in the poison miasma cave. Their effects were plus 1% poison resistance and plus 1 constitution. These two attribute items would only be dropped in the poison miasma cave. Because this deep rock crystal could directly increase one's constitution, Lin Xian felt that the poison miasma cave was not too bad. However, in comparison, the mystic realms controlled by the Germinal organization were very fertile. For example, the items produced in the Zero Realm Giant Rock Cave could increase every single attribute. Another example was the First Realm Mystic Realm Demon Ant Nest. There were more than 20 attribute items that could be dropped there, and there were also more than 20 Mystic Realm King Caves. Another example was the Fourth Realm Mystic Realm Blazing Fire Plains. It could drop original fruits that could supplement one's initial attributes. If the mystic realms were described to be mines, then the Giant Rock Cave, the Demon Ant Nest, and the Blazing Fire Plains were considered rich or mines. As for the Poison Miasma Cave, it was considered a poor mine. Lin Xian could not help but sigh. The Germinal organization's luck back then was really too good. The mystic realms they obtained were almost all very fertile. If they continued to develop for another 7 to 8 years, their strength would definitely be enough to take over White Crane Town in one go. Of course, they would only be able to take over White Crane Town. The Germinal organization was still too small compared to the entire construction division. The giant rock turtle has been training for 10 hours and has reached the upper limit of its training time. Obtain 27.6 million general coins, 13.8 million experience points, 15 6th realm skill books, 16 6th realm equipment, 7 6th realm runes, 1 poison miasma fruit, 1 deep rock crystal, and 1 profession scroll. Do you wish to collect? Lin Xian was very happy. It was good to have training avatars. He had gotten a profession scroll despite the poor chances. After all, he only had a 1 in 10,000 chance of obtaining one. He wanted to see what grade the profession scroll was. Chapter 70. My synthesis platform can synthesize a profession scroll. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 70. My synthesis platform can synthesize a profession scroll. Lin Xian immediately took out the profession scroll from his consciousness space. Name: Gunner grade. Uncommon green profession skill. High grade weapon proficiency profession skill effect. Damage caused by high caliber weapons plus 15%. Lin Xian shook his head. This was only an uncommon green profession scroll. Moreover, it was a gunner profession scroll. It was very unsuitable for him and he directly gave up. He continued to observe the gains of the other 4 training avatars. Among the other 4 training avatars, he obtained 3 more profession scrolls. Among them, 2 were armored warriors and mages. They were 2 of the 4 most ordinary professions Black had mentioned. The 3rd profession scroll was Ballista. Name: Ballista grade. Uncommon green profession skill. Bomb weapon proficiency profession skill effect plus 15% damage caused by bomb weapons. Lin Xian shook his head again. Trash. Trash. He had no use for it at all. However, at this moment, he suddenly noticed a notification sound in his consciousness space. He immediately immersed his mind into his consciousness space and quickly saw a line of synthesis formulas appear on the synthesis table. Weapon Master equals Gunner plus Ballista plus Rifleman plus Sniper plus Maintina NCE. The words, Weapon Master, were actually glowing with a purple light, indicating that this was a precious purple profession. Lin Xian said in surprise, a synthesis table can even synthesize a profession scroll. How awesome! According to the information Black had told him, the others could only rely on themselves to obtain the profession scrolls. However, the type and grade of the profession scrolls were up to fate. Sometimes, there was still hope, but sometimes, there was no hope. He had never heard that one could synthesize a high-grade occupation with a large number of low-grade professions. However, Weapon Master doesn't seem to be compatible with me. I'll continue to hack. It's best if I can trigger more synthesis lists. Let me see what class I can synthesize. If I want to directly obtain a peerless golden profession scroll, I'm afraid it will take me at least 4 to 5 years to obtain one with my 6 training avatars, right? With this synthesis list, it'll be much better. My guess is that as long as I satisfy 2 of the professions contained in the synthesis formula, a complete synthesis formula will immediately appear. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. In this way, his goal was no longer distant. He decided to take it slow. He would eventually be able to create a peerless golden profession. At the same time, on an island in the eastern sea of Asia. The entire island was connected to each other like a centipede. Before the demon disaster occurred, the entire island belonged to the border country. However, after the demon disaster, most of the countries in the world had disappeared. In their place were loose organizations. The organization that ruled this island was the High Heaven Plains. In the entire world, High Heaven Plains was also one of the strongest organizations. It was for no other reason than the fact that it controlled a huge mystic realm, the Reed Country. At this moment, at the High Heaven Plains headquarters. After the Azura twins were teleported back to the famous Reed Country, they were immediately brought out of the mystic realm and helped to the hospital bed in the headquarters. The two of them were in an extremely poor state. Hungry Azura's chest sank greatly, and he estimated that 3 of his ribs had broken, almost injuring his heart. The flesh on Blood Azura's arms was all mashed up and white bones could be seen in many places. Moreover, after using the Ghost Buddha lamp to escape, their cultivation directly decreased, falling from the previous level 4 7th realm to level 3 7th realm. 2 logisticians who were proficient in medical skills treated their injuries. They quickly recovered from their injuries, and their health points were quickly filled. However, they still needed to be bedridden for at least a month to recover to their peak state. Hua! A dignified middle-aged man pushed open the door and entered. He had a square face and a short beard. He had a robust figure and was wearing a trench coat. He looked majestic without being angry. The Azura twins immediately struggled to get out of bed when they saw him. The middle-aged man stopped them. Just lie down. Tell me what happened to the Germinal organization. The older brother, Blood Azura, had an ashamed expression. Honorable leader, the construction division of White Crane Town seems to know about our arrival. They had hidden trump cards and were waiting for us to attack. Moreover, the 7th realm martial artist on the Germinal organization's side turned out to be a traitor. He counterattacked at the critical moment and severely injured me. However, there's something that I'm very curious about. The martial artist who defeated brother seems to be only at level 9 6th realm, but the strength he displayed at that moment reached the 7th realm. The middle-aged man interrupted him. That's because of something the construction division obtained in the large mystic realm, the Kunlun ruins. It's called the Jade Blood Pill Heart. It can increase one's strength greatly in a short period of time. The side effect is that it burns one's lifespan. We only found out about this recently. I don't blame you. Only then did Blood Azura nod. The younger brother, Azura Hungry, added, before this, we had communicated with manager number 1 there in advance. We were supposed to take action as soon as they broke through any of the city walls of White Crane Town and fished out the 7th realm martial artists of White Crane Town. Who knew that the east and west city walls would actually be defended for a long time when each wall only had one person guarding it? We had no choice but to forcefully land on the north wall and attack forcefully. The middle-aged man frowned. One person blocking the attack of the Germinal martial artists alone. Blood Azura nodded. That's right. We saw it from afar. There were at least 3 6th realm martial artists and more than 100 martial artists of various levels attacking the east and west city walls, but they were all stopped. One of them was wearing heavy armor and knows how to use the ice spear technique. The other one uses fire magic. The middle-aged man nodded. I understand. Take care of your injuries. After you recover, go to the Reed Country to continue training. This was not your fault. Yes. Thank you for your nurturing, Sir Leader. The 2 brothers nodded heavily. The middle-aged man walked out of the ward and waved his hand. Immediately, someone leaned over. Leader, what can I do for you? The middle-aged man pondered for a moment and said, pass the news to the spies we planted in White Crane Town. Find out who the traitor is, who leaked the information, and who defended the 2 walls of the east and west. I want to know their strength, their potential, and if they joined the construction division. Understood. That person nodded and quickly left. The middle-aged man had a cold expression. No matter who it is, they must be killed for messing with the plan of my High Heaven Plains. A few days later, in White Crane Town. It was another ordinary day. During this period of time, Lin Xian had already obtained many profession scrolls through his training avatars. There were even hundreds of ordinary white profession scrolls. There were also nearly 100 uncommon green profession scrolls. There were only 5 rare blue profession scrolls. As for the precious purple and peerless golden grade profession scrolls, he was unable to obtain them. I can't even get one even with so many training avatars working at once. The drop rate is too low. If this is a game, won't the players curse at the lousy game producer repeatedly? Lin Xian could not help but curl his lips. However, over the past few days, he had also seen the synthesis formula of the peerless golden profession scroll on the synthesis table. Swordmaster equals warrior plus swordsman plus slayer plus luck man, swordmaster, that sounds awesome. Lin Xian clicked his tongue in wonder.